Why do estate agents find it really difficult to charge decent fees? Talk to me.
That's a good question. I think that some of them, the problem of fee is in their head, not customers. But it's an easy thing to say, well, it's not us, it's the customers only want low fees now. Now, I think the last Rightmove survey said that
Just came out, didn't it?
Yeah,
Came
I mean,
out a couple of months ago.
a
Yeah.
very low figure.
Yeah.
Chose on
If memory serves you well, 13 or 14% of fees are 1.5% and above, and the most was 1%.
Yeah.
That came out a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Now, this is what
You can't
I
win a
say.
business. You can't run a business on 1%.
We haven't got a chance. I mean, what I say is this. If you're the valuer, or the lister, whatever you choose to call them, and you're going out, your job is a salesperson, isn't it? Okay. Agreed? You just happen to be in this industry, but you're selling the services of your agency, and more important, you.
You are the ambassador, yes.
So how are you increasing the value in what you do to make your fees seem fair?
So what do you do? Because I know you train valuers how to do this.
Yeah, very
what,
much so.
What do you do to help valuers get their fees up?
Okay, there's a lot of things. We start with the phone call. That has to be exceptional. And it has to be based on the other video we did where we spoke about very good questioning. You've got to very well question. You've got to be a great questioner.
You mean the valuer has to pick the phone up to the potential vendor after the free val's been booked? And
Absolutely. And hang on.
How often does that normally happen?
Never.
Why?
I have no idea. But there's another...
Well, it's fun because you can turn up and, it's all a bit,
there's another
seat
issue,
pants.
Chris. Here's another issue. There are lots of agents out there that if Chris rings in and says, I'm looking to sell my house, they'll be told there's no one here in sales at the moment. Can I take your number and get someone to call you back? Or can you call back? If you work for an estate agent with respect and you're unable to make a market appraisal, not go on it, make it, should you be employed?
Probably not, no.
Right.
Bring it back to the valuer, though.
So the valuer. So the market appraisal's been made.
Okay.
Yep.
You call it free val, I call it free val, you call it market appraisal.
I just don't like free, Chris.
Okay.
I prefer to say no cost to you.
Okay.
I think free...
Whatever we call it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Free suggests no value.
So the MA,
The MA, yeah.
a friend of mine, Perry, calls them SAMs, seller appointment meetings.
Oh, I love
whatever
that.
you call them.
Yeah.
Surface to MSI.
Oh, I think I'll steal that.
What does that phone call look like?
Right. So the first phone call we've spoken about.
That's the neg's arranged the free val.
Yeah, or whoever has taken the call has arranged the val. It's booked. We now should be, if we're world class, putting through the vendor's door by hand, a letter that's topped and tailed and recaps the phone call in detail. You said this, you said that, you said you were near a golf club.
Not just a cut and paste, dear leave space for name, your free val is on leave space for name of date.
No.
Here's a list of the reasons why we're brilliant.
Yeah,
love and kisses.
Blah. And we've got 29% of the market share, bore me to death. So we put this handwritten letter through.
What that says, you've arranged the valuation, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
On this date, just to confirm that you've been
Chris
here 20
will be
years.
coming to see you.
What, in that detail? You've been here 20 years, and and you've got 3 kids, and you're looking to move.
Yes, and you want to move to Torquay.
That sounds a lot of work, mate.
Yeah,
Go on,
it is.
keep going.
It is, but you want to charge 1.5%, don't you?
Yeah, $4.5 from a 200 grand house.
We've got to do a bit of work. So you're going to have that letter.
Isn't there a button on the computer I can press for this?
Nope. So you're going to have that letter. Within that is also going to be a mini biog of the valuer with a picture, mini biog, and a testimonial on him or her. Okay, can you see how you're building value?
Yes.
You're also going to have another page that says meet the team.
Yes.
Because I, as the vendor, will know selling it, don't I?
Yeah.
But the most important person on that meet the team is going to be the sales progressor. Because it's the sales progressor that gets the deal through. How many people have fall-throughs. Too many. It's the sales progressor that gives you the value in your fee. So in your meet the team, you're going to have a big biog on him or her saying that our average fall-through rate is X against the national average of X plus. Another reason to pick you. Yeah. You also might have 7 tips to get the best price for your property. Yeah. And if you really want to, 10 questions your agent should ask you. Because you know you're going to ask them. Or 10 questions you should ask your agent.
Or could you do both?
You could. Now that is hand delivered. What do you think happens when Chris, the valuer, knocks on the door the following day?
Hold on. Have we not had the valuation yet?
No. That letter goes before the valuation.
So the valuation gets booked on the Monday for the Friday.
Yeah.
A very fancy hard work pack gets put through the door Monday night, Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah.
As the valuer rang
The valuer's going to ring them Thursday, the day before, to introduce herself and say how much she's looking forward to meeting them. And she's passing Costa on the way. Would they like a cortado or a latte? And do they want a sticky bun? I'm really serious. That's what the best do. Now, before you say to me, but everybody hasn't got a Costa, okay, well then you can't do it. But do something different.
Did you say
Be memorable.
Someone's got to knock on the door on the Wednesday?
No.
No.
So, no. So we make the call Monday, Tuesday, handwritten letter delivered, Thursday, phone call from the valuer, Friday, here I am. And when you knock on the door, they say, hello, Chris. I saw your picture. I didn't know you were a keen taxidermist. So's my mum.
Because they read that stuff, don't they?
Because it's not an email. They read it. Yeah? And there's something else more important. Ask any valuer. They've had times when they knock on the door and the customer comes out and goes, which one are you?
All the time.
Not going to get that. Not going to get that anymore. Now look at the value you've built. You then have a system, or should have, of how you're going to do the MA valuation, whatever we want to call it. You're going to have a system. You're going to know how you're going to build the value. And at the end, you're going to tell them it's only 1.75%. Yeah? But when they say to you, which they might, which they shouldn't, because you're so bloody marvellous, they're going to say, oh, fine, because they thought you were going to say 2.5%, because your service is so wonderful. If they ever say but, you will have written down on a pad what 0.25% is of the value of their property, what 0.1% is, what 0.2%, because with respect, the customer won't know. Ask 100 customers what's 0.25% of 425,000, wouldn't know. But shouldn't we? Because shouldn't we sometimes turn that percent into cash?
Go on, that's interesting.
Well, we have a thing in a estate agency. I call it estate agent. It's called percentage speak. It's one of the only businesses in the world where we don't give prices. We don't say to sell your house it will be 3,400. We say it will be 1.25. How many customers say, how much is that? They don't. But they know that your competition was only 1%.
So it sounds a lot more, doesn't it?
Correct. But it could be £1,000. Well, I know a very successful valuer, that said to a customer once when that was said to him, there was about 1,500 between the two agents. He said, Mrs. Customer, if you don't think I'm good enough to get you 403,000 when you'd be slightly better off, even with my fee, I don't think you should use me anyway.
I like that.
Very successful valuer. This is not me coming up with some idea. This is me watching the best and having trained the best.
Because you train them and you go out and
train them. I go out with them. Oh, we mystery call them. We go out with them. Do you know the other thing, Chris, that shocks me? I speak to loads of agents, as you know. And I often say to the owner, what's your conversions between val and instruction? And most know, some don't, which is a bit frightening, but most know. And then I'll say, how often do you go out with your valuers? And most of them say, don't, Boyd.
Well, they just judge that on the numbers, don't they?
Yeah, but I go out with them, or one of my colleagues will go out, and we learn a lot. Some of them are wonderful.
Do you think the value is in a better place because their boss is not watching over them, and as long as you set that up, that you're there to train and help them?
Yes, I think that some of them really enjoy it because they just introduced me as the marketing man. I went out on a valuation with a guy the other day, and we saw a lovely single mum. Well, not single, her husband was away, and she had a 14-month-old baby in her, and I played with the baby.
There you go.
Yeah, and the valuer had her attention.
There you go.
I wasn't there to interfere or talk. I was just there to observe and give him feedback.
Because a lot of bosses, when a lot of bosses like to cut across their valuers.
Yeah, then you don't learn anything, Chris. You know, I do understand. You own a business. You're out with a valuer. The valuer's losing it. Your business, you're looking at 4,000 or 5,000 men going down the drain here. Of course you want to jump in. I understand that. But most of them don't go out with them.
In the first place.
Yes, if you're not going out with your valuer, how do you know why they're not converting? And if your valuer's having a tough time and you're saying it's purple bricks, it's because the guy around the corner's cheaper, well, hang on. As I said to you, why don't we ever talk cash? Why do we only say, well, they're 0.25% cheaper? Why aren't we saying, well, we're more money, they're cheaper. We're not more expensive.
Classic line.
It's so important. We're not more expensive.
And you can train valuers, you can go out with valuers.
We've gone out with them, we've done the phone calls. We can make them better. We do. We're passionate about it. We get conversion rates better. We get the fees up.
There you go. Well, Boyd's contact details are here. And if anyone wants to contact him, have a chat with him, give him a shout. I've known him for about 3.5 years.
Yeah, at least now.
He can talk for bloody England, but I tell you what, he knows his stuff.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.